Meredith Gorman here, and are you still not subscribed to Matt's channel? Well, if you're not, hit the subscribe button because he's giving out free picks each and every week. Hope you have a good rest of your day.
UFC 317, Topuria versus Oliveira for the vacant title live in Las Vegas. Because it's International Fight Week, usually lands in July, but a little earlier here. A fun main event with a few other good fights on the card. We'll talk all the fights, like always, on the main card. I'll be actually missing some of this card. Probably the first event I missed this year. I'm going to try to catch the main event and the main card. I'll be camping with family this weekend. This was planned months and months and months ago. So I'll probably be able to catch. I'll probably go in town, watch it on my laptop or something. But it'll be unfortunate if I miss the card because I really want to see the main event, especially. Not a ton of fights I'm super excited about on the card, but definitely the main event. So hopefully I do not miss that. Systemsportscapping.com or link.me/systemcapping. See my personal plays, support the system. Detailed records over there as well. You guys all know client comments, articles, and more, along with, updated records and everything. Every week, I update my records over there. Transparent, and update them here as well with you guys on the podcast. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, like most people these days are, thanks for listening over there. Please review it. Please share. If you know anyone else that loves the UFC, and of course, NFL is just a couple months away. I think 70 days to be exact. YouTube viewers, please like the video. It does help out a ton. Transparent betting each week, updates, free picks, fades, and more is what you're going to get on this podcast if you're new and unfamiliar. UFC Baku, let's do a UFC Baku recap. Yes, it was a profitable event for myself and clients. We did hit on our main play, which is a rare 3-fight parlay. Now, it's obviously 3 favorites that I really liked and couldn't get to an outcome on. So when I do that, I put in a parlay, usually 2-fight parlay to plus money. This was a 3-fight parlay, and it got to plus money as well. We hit on all of those. Salikov, wow. He was in that. I also took him by finish as well. Plus 110, nice price tag there on the finish by Salikov, and what a fight that was. The fight was so good, Dana White gave both of them $100,000, right? The rest of the fights weren't great, guys. It wasn't a great card. But Salikov's fight, I think it was one of the fights of the year. Ton of punches thrown. Both guys took damage and survived. But then Moda couldn't survive Salikov's last flurry there in the second round. I guess I can't really say it's a fight of the year, obviously, because it went 2 rounds. If it went 3 and a little deeper and we got a late finish, or even it went to the judges' scorecards, maybe. But definitely one of the fight. Definitely top 10 in the year. I would say maybe top 5 as well. You got to go look back at all the fights. I can't remember off the top of my head, but what a fight that was. That kind of saved the card, right? And Salikov, obviously, his background is from Azerbaijan. So, great showing for him. He should have a number by his name. I would love to see him fight. Maybe not a top 10 guy yet. Definitely a ranked guy in his next fight. Remember, great training camp he fights out of. Fights with Mirab and Longo and that team over there. I think he's really good. And he showed some toughness surviving that early onslaught from Mata. That was very impressive. Hill, no-show Hill. I did have a small unit on Hill by finish at plus money. He just didn't show up. Wasn't able to find Roundtree. I think Roundtree had a good game plan, moved well, didn't stay in the pocket with him and throw. He used the leg kicks well. So Roundtree, hats off to him. Hill, it's 3 losses in a row now. What's next for him? I don't know, right? It's very disappointed showing from him. He was so remember, he won the belt like, what, 2-3 years ago? And then now it's just downhill from here. Roundtree continues some good performances, right? Hard to be betting against him anymore. Again, I'm glad I just had a smaller unit. Like I mentioned, it was a profitable card. But Roundtree, hats off to Roundtree there. 14-4 UFC pay-per-view client run is on the line this week. Average line plus money. Let's get into this card, guys. Let's get right into this card. Shop around, have multiple sports books. Like I always mention, get the best market line out there. They vary from book to book. Props vary from book to book. It's very important in UFC betting. Maybe not so much in NBA. Maybe not so much in NHL. Maybe not so much in NFL. UFC, one of the most important, along with golf as well. Those two are I would say are the top two to have multiple sports books. Topuria, minus 500 versus Oliveira, plus 375. This should be a fun one, even though it's, heavily favored in Topuria's way. Should be a fun one as long as it lasts. Right? Oliveira already talking about coming forward. He's talking about coming forward and making this a fight, and that's how these guys fight. It's hard to say, Oliveira's just going to change his fighting style and just sit back and dance around and move around or try to get the fight down on the ground. It's hard to predict that and hard to say that because that's not his style, right? He wants to come forward and try to pressure Topuria. Not a lot of people or no one has really been able to do that. Is Oliveira going to want it? Now, Topuria is calling for it. Topuria wants that. And that fight, that goes into his style and his power on his feet, right? So I believe it's not a good idea if Charles Oliveira comes and brings the fight. He's been chinny at the time. He's been finished 8 times in his career. Some of those have been submissions as well. But keep that in mind, guys. Oliveira a little older now. He's been in a lot of wars. This is Topuria's time. 16-0. Most confident man I've ever seen. Right? One of the most confident. Says he will finish his fight in round 1, and I'm not telling him he won't. He's usually right about his predictions, guys. He says, I'm going to go finish, guys. He's not always right on the rounds. It usually happens a round later, a round or 2 later. But he usually finishes these fights, guys. I believe he does it again here. Right? He's been calling all these fights. The Volk fight. I remember he called he was going to finish him. It happened a round or 2 later, but he finished him. And sometimes there's cocky and confidence. I think he borders in the middle, right? But he's allowed to be cocky confident when you're just running through the UFC, guys. Right? Love watching both these guys fight. So we have a main event treat here, in my opinion. Topuria will have the boxing advantage from if you look at stats and skill standpoint here. We know both these guys very well, but if you don't, Topuria will have the boxing advantage. We'll have the striking advantage here. And yes, you could say Oliveira has a grappling advantage. We just haven't seen a ton from Topuria. We know Topuria is a black belt. We just don't see it a lot, right? So I'm actually going to say Oliveira does have a grappling advantage, but is he going to try to grapple and get this fight down to the ground? I don't see it, right? And if he does, I believe Topuria doesn't get taken down easily. We know Oliveira is not a big-time wrestler, right? It's when he gets the fight down to the ground in the grappling world, yeah, he has really high-level grappling. But I do believe Topuria does as well. We just don't see it as much because Topuria is able to keep the fight standing and just knock you out on the feet. A couple things to keep in mind here, guys. Topuria moving up in weight. He looks great. Add some muscle, some size. There's been some pictures circulating around the internet showing his size that he added, and he looks great, healthy, looks filled in. But that is something to monitor here. He is moving up. Will his power carry up to a new and heavier division? That's the only one concern I really have here, right? Not cutting as much weight is a good thing, right? He's not going to be cutting as much as he normally does. I do believe that's a good thing. It's just how will it translate being the smaller guy in there? That's the only one concern I have for Topuria. Right? If you want to improve that price, minus 500, we don't bet minus 500 straight up. You look at the finish prop. I have a very difficult time seeing this going 5 rounds. How is these guys just don't fight that style, right? They go for finishes. I would be very surprised if this went 5 rounds, right? So you got to look at you can improve the price drastically by taking Topuria by finish here. Right, Charles a bit older now, doing a lot of things outside of the ring. Topuria is just locked in vision, prime of his career, guys. I'm not saying Charles is done by any means, but his best times are behind him, in my opinion. Hard to stay off Topuria here in some aspect, guys. Topuria should be on your betting card this week. Pantoja minus 250 versus Kai Kara-France plus 200. Yeah, well, right when I look at it, there's slight value here on Kai Kara-France, but how does he win this fight? I believe he would have to hurt Pantoja on the feet. And Pantoja has been shown, especially as of late, very durable, right? He still has never been knocked out or finished or submitted, guys. Right? And during this fight, I believe Pantoja will get some takedowns. Now, the question is Pantoja going to be able to keep him there? Right? He is the better grappler than Kai Kara-France. We don't see Kai Kara-France grapple much, but we see his takedown defense being very good at 88%. He's difficult to keep down. He moves a lot. He's squirmish on the ground. So that's going to be one thing here, right? Kai Kara-France keep this fight standing. He is the better striker than Pantoja. He has a shot to win this fight at plus 200, which is a nice price. I just don't bet against Pantoja on this run, guys. He's looked unstoppable. Like the clear best flyweight. Kai Kara-France up and down in the UFC. Loses one, wins one, come back. Oh yeah, Kai Kara-France could be the next guy, and then he loses one. And now he's on a nice win streak here. But I can't bet against Pantoja here, guys. Now, 250, tough to get to. Good, 2-fight parlay piece is possible here with Pantoja. If you look at outcome, I think outcome's tough, right? There's the decision looming. I think Pantoja could finish him as well. Submission prop could be live as well. It's tough to call an outcome here. Very tough. Keep in mind, Kai Kara-France submitted 3 times and knocked out 3 times. So, Pantoja, he doesn't really have that knockout power on the feet. But if it does get down on the ground, I expect Pantoja to get this fight down on the ground. The submission could be live there for Pantoja, and there's some good prices out there. The question is just, is he going to be able to hold Kai Kara-France down to the ground? I don't know that, right? No one really knows that until we see it. But Pantoja has shown he's able to take guys down, right, throughout his career. Kai Kara-France, but has been able to show his takedown defense being fairly solid. So it's going to be a good battle there, in my opinion. Remember, this is 5 rounds. I don't think it really favors anybody. Kai Kara-France, cardio not being a concern. You could even say he maybe has a little better cardio than Pantoja. We've seen Pantoja kind of fade later in fights, but he's still there. A lot of heart, tons of heart. I can't go against Pantoja until I see him lose. Lately, he's just continuing to run through the division, guys. I believe it could be a close fight and goes to decision, but I think Pantoja's, takedowns, grapplings, exchanges may be the difference in this one. Not too sure how I can bet this as of yet. I'm going to watch the weigh-ins before, but Pantoja could make my client card in some aspect this week, guys. Royval plus 100 versus Van minus 120. Now, I missed a good price on Royval. This came out as a much higher price on Royval. I should have bet it then. Now there's just not that much value at plus 100. Now it's pretty much an even fight, right? A lot of people were betting Royval, and there's some good reason for it, right? Quick turnaround for Van. He fought 3 weeks ago, guys. This is his toughest fight yet against Royval. It's not even close, right? Van's been beating guys like Durden, Tussera, and Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva just continues to lose more. Royval's last 3 fights, guys, Tejera, Moreno, and Pantoja. It is just a huge step up for Van. Royval should have never been that much of an underdog. I think the market just reacted to Van's previous win. And, some new blood in the division. I think Van's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. I just think Royval's a little more well-rounded. I think Royval's going to be able to work him a little more. And just win this fight. At plus 100, though, I'm not excited about it. I was excited when it opened up at such a larger price. I should have bet it then. I don't know why I didn't. Now, I'm not excited about it, right? Ravel's going to have a grappling advantage here. Submission prop could be live. Could be live here, but we also could see a decision win. Ravel just may be more active in this fight is what I could see here, right? He's has the bigger fights, been in this situation many times. Van, I don't like the 3 weeks notice. I don't love the matchup here for him. Again, it is a flip of a coin according to the books. Van definitely could obviously win this fight. I just haven't seen enough from him to bet him here as a favorite against Ravel, who's been there, done that. Remember, he had a title shot, right? He's been there, guys. I just believe he's a little more well-rounded. I think he finds a way either by close decision or if you want to take a longer shot, look at the submission there. The one thing here I do got to mention, Ravel's not some big-time wrestler. He gets fights down to the ground, but he scrambles. He does unique things. He does have an 81% takedown defense, Van. That's something, worth mentioning here. And if it does stay on the feet, Van could win this fight. Interesting one. I only could look at the value here with Royval, not a ton of value. We missed the value. If you got it earlier and bet it, hats off to you guys. Dariush plus 100 versus Moicano minus 125. Similar price tag here, and it's a tough fight to call for multiple reasons, right? Dariush just hasn't fought for almost 2 years. Yeah, a year and a half, 2 years. Older now. Moicano was on that nice run, keep in mind, until, he took that short notice against Islam. Hats off for him to taking that. Obviously, he got submitted in round 1. Showed his grappling is not as good as, some people thought. Dariush, he was there. He made it to the top. He lost to Oliveira. When he stepped up in competition, he fought Arman. He got knocked out. When he stepped up in competition, he showed he wasn't that guy, right? He wasn't that top level, top of the food chain guy. I think this is a fairly even matchup. Now, it's just a question mark with Dariush. How is he going to come back? He's been away. He's been injured. How is he going to look coming back here, guys? We don't really know. And that's when I stay away from these type of fights. When there's some question marks on the one fighter, right? How is Dariush going to come back after this long layoff? He's a little older now. And Moicano was on a nice run before he ran into Islam. I think skill set, guys, it's a tough fight to call because it's very similar, right? Dariush, I can say maybe has the better wrestling, and maybe he does lean on that. I think the striking's fairly even on the feet. Grappling, like from just a grappling jiu-jitsu sim, I think it's fairly even. I think Dariush does slightly have a wrestling advantage. If this fight happened 2 years ago, before this layoff, I would bet Dariush all day. Now I'm a little more concerned, right? And it's very tough to call an outcome here. If you're trying to look for a better price, this could finish, right? Both guys do like to come forward, and both guys look for finishes. So I can't sit here and say, over 2.5 rounds, if fight goes the distance I love, because I don't. There could definitely be a finish in here. Or we could see a lot of grappling exchanges and some wrestling in this one. It slows down the fight and goes over that 2.5 rounds. Fight goes the distance. So this is a fight that I'm actually going to be passing on. I don't love anything here. I think I'd be flipping coins and taking chances on Dariush just because I haven't seen him fight for a while here. And I don't know how he's going to come back and look. So I'll be staying away from this one totally, guys. Many options could happen in this fight. Many things could happen. Hopefully I can watch it. I don't know. Like I mentioned, I might be unable to watch this card, at least the early main event fights. We'll see what happens. Again, I'm camping this weekend with family. Last fight we'll talk about here, and it's the opening up the main card. Talbot is back, guys. Plus 160 versus Lima, minus 180. Of course, the Talbot plus 160 value is tempting, right? But let's look at Lima, right? 14-1, 2-0 in the UFC. Decent wins over Naimov and Johns. He looks for takedowns, and that's what Talbot struggled against Barcelos, right? Barcelos beat him just because he spammed takedowns on him. Talbot, very good striker, maybe one of the best strikers in the division. However, his grappling, his takedown defense is not good, and he got exposed last time out, right? And you expect Lima to just continue to do that, and that's why he's the favorite here. He's a favorite because he has the wrestling and grappling to beat Talbot. Now, does Talbot go back to the drawing board and improve his takedown defense, catches him on the feet? Very possible. That's why that value at plus 160, I think there's slight value there, right? So if you guys are tempted to play that plus 160, wouldn't call you crazy. right? I just have seen, Lima hasn't lost a fight since 2015. Now he's been only in the UFC for 2 fights, but like I mentioned, he won both those fights. He has a submission in one of them as well. So if Lima can get this fight down to the ground similar to Barcelos, obviously he watched that Barcelos fight. Obviously his game plan should be let me go in and just spam takedowns and get this fight down to the ground. If Lima doesn't fight that way and he decides, let me try to stand and bang with him, yeah, obviously he'll probably lose the fight, and that's where the value comes in. But you expect Talbot to have a game plan here to avoid the takedown. So plus 160, sure. Let's take a small unit shot there on Talbot. Obviously, if he doesn't cash here, you're going to have to stay off him in the future. But I do believe, this fight's more slight favorite Lima, minus 120. I just believe the previous fight from Talbot, you're getting a little value from that loss here. Again, battle's going to be Talbot trying to keep the fight standing and using his striking to catch Lima on the feet. That's what this fight should be, unless Lima is just, an idiot and decides to just go and strike with him. I don't believe it, because Lima's fights previously, he tries to look for takedowns. So I don't believe that's going to change here. So yeah, slight value with Lima. Slight value here with Talbot. Is it going to make my client card? Probably not. But for podcast purposes, let's take Talbot plus 160 for a smaller unit. That will do it, guys. That will do it. Excited for what I can see of this card, at least. Hopefully, I get back to town and be able to watch it. There's no reception where I'm going to be. So hopefully I'll definitely probably catch the main event, co-main event, because it's going to be like 12 o'clock. I'll be leaving the camp area by then, I'm sure. So probably off Twitter and tweets this week, but I'll do them in the morning, hopefully. Like I always say, guys, bet smart and know your limits. Enjoy this card.